welcome to the SMX Insider post-race show from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. What a night it was of Monster Energy AMA Supercross action. Look at that. That's a picture he wasn't sure that he'd ever see. Ken Roczen, just so determined, so driven to finally be a Daytona Supercross winner. It has taken a long time, but that was one heck of a ride and very deserving. And he's not out of this championship fight at all. He sits in third place, just 16 adrift of points leader Cooper Webb. But that's the side story. This is the story. That trophy is what it's all about, sharing it with his son, his family. And that's going to take a really special spot in the Roczen household. Huge crowd as they storm the track at the Tri-Oval here at Daytona to get over in front of the podium to see Roczen receive that.
Team manager, Larry Brooks.
Yeah. That guy's got some Supercross wins and championships as a team manager, working for the King Supercross.
So when you win your first one, what is it like? Does it take a while to sink in?
I mean, for me, it did because I was so tired. Right? I was so gassed. But yeah, it's special. I mean, you think about, like, for me, I'm sure it's different for others, but for me, I just think about all the forms of racing that come through and race at Daytona International Speedway. That's why it was special to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just different. I don't know what it's just different. You know, unfortunately for me, my kids broke my trophy. Still sad about that, but still, just this whole platform, Daytona, as you said, the history here. But you just know when you win here, it's earned, and I don't know how else to explain it. It's just a different place.
No, that's the best way to explain it. You're exactly right, and it's so hard to win at this place because, like you said, it's so hard to earn. It's physically the toughest. I mean, look at the elements. Look how rough it is. Look how long the track is. It's just, you know, high stakes, high stakes. That's a fan experience right there, y'all. Daytona doing it right. Here's the moment.
Yo!
Well, let's see. You got Larry Brooks, got the team owner, got Chris Wheeler from Suzuki, American Suzuki, Blake Savage. That's his brother-in-law there in the wheelchair. Matt Mora from Fox Racing, his semi-driver, or his bus driver.
You know, you got
team
there,
personnel.
You got a bunch of happy people.
That's
right there. That's what you got, a bunch of winners.
So as they celebrate, let's take you to the 450 highlights on a really special night. We started our broadcast saying how special it has been so far with sports cars and NASCAR, and Supercross has delivered as well. Huge crowd, super excited to see the pre-race ceremonies. They knew that they were in store for something special, and Daytona delivered once again. Cooper Webb came in to this round as the points leader by just 5 over Chase Sexton. And unfortunately, in Sexton's heat, it went all bad right from the beginning.
Yeah, and we talked about it at the beginning part. Eliminated mistakes. He's been fast all year, eliminated mistakes, and off the first lap, huge mistake for him. Had to go to the LCQ. Was able to rebound and win the LCQ, but that's not the way you want to start off the night.
So he took some time to think about things, went via the LCQ, won that last chance qualifier, and then, Ricky, he was kind of mid-pack and he had to pick his way through, but he did it very effectively.
Yeah, he did really well. I mean, overall, I mean, all things considered, being out there was incredible. You know, I mean, that was a tough impact crash that he took in that heat race. But yeah, he came up through the pack, and I think he did a job well done.
Jason Anderson led his very first laps, believe it or not, at Daytona. Aaron Plessinger got a flyer of a start. He was on a mission while his teammate just kept working his way slowly through the field.
Yeah, you got to think maybe some of that crash and just, you know, what happened, how the night started. He was being very timid, and you got to give a shout out to Justin Cooper, because you see him, he was behind him at that point and was able to make his way up there, but Chase just slowly started making his way up and ended up, you know, 4th position. Actually ended up 5th. Kind of went back, but this was a battle for the lead. Aaron Plessinger, Jason Anderson going in it, and this crowd went wildly.
That was one of the moments of the race, to see AP finally back out in front, because it has been a frustrating season, to say the least. He said he needed to be better. Well, tonight he was better, and he got that Red Bull KTM out in front, and he stayed there, Ricky, for quite a while.
Well, he did. I mean, he rode solid all night long. Like, how he rode today, it was so refreshing to see that, because you know he's capable of that. That was an incredible pass by Ken.
Very nice pass. He Cooper Webb at that, went down super low, and you kind of saw this coming, just his lines in the heat race, and Kenny wasn't done there. Made his way around Jason Anderson and ultimately got around AP here in the next lap or so, and got out to about a 5-second lead on those guys. And it was a Webb train trying to get him down.
Just that momentum he had, and with every move that he made, the confidence went higher and higher, speed went higher and higher. This is the moment he made the move for the lead, and then from that point, it was see you later, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny was just on a different level, and just as this track broke down even more, those lines starting to play into it, and like I said, he was able to get out to about 5 seconds, and then you saw this was Jay Sexton getting around Jason Anderson right here, and we thought, RC, that he was going to make his way up and give a run for the podium, but he stalled out there.
He did, and you know, maybe feeling the effects from that crash in the heat race. We'll have to do our homework on there and see if that was exactly it. But then, I didn't expect the two to do what he did right here, as we'll see. But before marching up through here, and then Cooper stalls it. I almost wonder if maybe he stalled it because his clutch was so fried out.
You know,
revving
the thing. Almost the opposite of what happened last weekend with Chase being out front and stalling, allowing Cooper back in. And that's how close Chase was to Cooper at the midpoint of the race.
That was a really critical point of the race, because at that stage, Cooper Webb was catching Ken Roczen really effectively, but when that stall happened, it was over from that point for Cooper Webb.
That rhythm lane right there, I think one of the reasons it helped Ken win, not only because he's a talented rider, but he did that section better than anyone else, the most consistent, I should say.
Justin Cooper was putting the heat on Chase Sexton late in the race. These two had a really good scrap, but then ultimately Cooper was able to pretty effectively, fairly easily get by Sexton, whatever his ailments were late in that final. But that's a side story. The story was Ken Roczen finally, after all of these years, becoming a Daytona Supercross winner. This is how they finished behind Roczen. Cooper Webb and Aaron Plessinger on the podium, a much needed podium for Plessinger. Justin Cooper with that great ride. We showed you that when he got past Sexton for that 4th spot. Malcolm Stewart was kind of stable and steady in the middle of the top 10. Justin Hill, another top 10. Jason Anderson faded back to 8th. And Joey Savacci and Justin Barsha finishing in the top 10. There is the full field for you to see who finished where on a really interesting night here in Daytona. And it was a good run, especially late in the race for Justin Cooper. Let's hear his thoughts.
Yeah, it was a good run, and this is actually his best finish here at Daytona as a 4th. But Justin, you're one of those guys who probably wishes there were just a few more laps in that race. How did it come to you there at the end?
Yeah, it was a really good charge. I see there was like 10 minutes left, so yeah, I just saw the pack in front of me and just charged to the end, see what I could do, and yeah, got up to Jason there, and he made it really tough on me. We lost some time there. He was playing cat and mouse with me a little bit, and so I lost some time, had to re-catch the KTMs, and made it interesting there the last couple of laps. Almost got to the podium, but man, I was close. So it was a good race. Didn't execute the start, so can't really expect much from there. Had to come from about 10th, and overall it was a solid night. I love the bike. The team worked with me awesome tonight, and yeah, I think if we had a better start, we had a shot at that win. We were charging, so it was a good night for us. Can't complain. We'll get a podium down the road sometime.
Near midway point here in the season, reflectively now, how proud are you of yourself and your team of where you guys have come?
Yeah, it's been like a really good 4 races now in the top 5. So consistency's there, speed's there, and just yeah, I feel like I'm doing everything right. It's just gotta be patient and keep doing what I'm doing, and yeah, it'll come. Riding really well, and every time I'm out there, I feel good. So can't ask for much more than that.
Good work out there. Right now, Justin Cooper sitting 6th in points, just 2 points there behind 5th.
I like what he said. We'll get that podium down the road here. It's coming, and just in Justin's time on a 450, he's getting better and better all the time. Here's the state of play as far as the points. Cooper Webb came in with a 5-point lead over Sexton. He's doubled that to 10. And Roczen, as we said earlier, in the mix.
Yeah, and he doesn't talk about championship much. Like, he didn't say big picture. You know, you hear Coop always talking about the championship. Not always, but majority of the time, you know that's what he's doing. I think he needs to consider himself as the guy that can win this championship.
So, Stu, for you, the biggest point of the night, Roczen's is going to be the fan favorite headline story. You know, one of the best riders yet to win a 450 championship, but he's checked this box with a Daytona win. Was that the big takeaway for you, just how well he rode?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm surprised because we know how good he is. And anytime you got 7-time not here, you know, everybody feels like they have an opportunity. So I think the big picture just brings him back into the belief of possibly having a chance to win this championship. And you could look at Chase Sexton. You can look at him as, oh, he ends up 5th. It's a tough night, loses more points to Cooper. But ultimately, Cooper not winning that race, I think actually helps Chase out a lot to where he's not going to be so down on himself compared to if Cooper went off and won. It's another 3 points and just the momentum goes. So, yeah, overall, these guys, they showed up. Ken rode awesome. Cooper did as well. But just looking forward to seeing how this season keeps playing out. These guys are on another level.
Really quickly before we move on, for the fans who remember or for the fans who don't, Roczen rode for you at one stage. What's impressing you about him now at the age of 30 and riding and winning like he's doing now?
How competitive he is at his age, and just how he's changed and how he's progressed in a positive way, taking everything that he's learned from riding for great teams. I loved working with Kenny, even though we would battle, you know, on some things, but I feel like he's learned so much and he's applied things that he's learned from all these people, and it's impressive to do that at his age.
All right, we need to look ahead on the schedule. As Katie mentioned, we're fast approaching the halfway point of this 2025 season. So we do look ahead at the northeastern swing because it's huge for moto fans in the northeast. I live in the northeast and I know that there are plenty of moto fans. Look at that for a lineup. Foxborough in Massachusetts, the home of the Pats. Then we go to Philly, then East Rutherford in New Jersey, and Pittsburgh. There has never been a northeast swing like this in the history of Supercross. Highlights of the 250 East Division. Just 2 races in the books prior to Daytona and 2 different winners. So would that theme continue? Well, RJ Hampshire most certainly wanted that theme to continue because he wanted to be the next winner of this 2025 season. But check this out. Tom Vial and Max Anstey, championship leader, they come together and Anstey ends up in the dirt.
I almost wonder if Anstey had a bad angle coming off of that jump going into the left-hand corner right there, because he just completely annihilated the tough block disc.
Yeah, but then it was RJ. This was a battle for the lead. Both heat winners right here. The guys that kind of needed to come out here and rebound, which they both did. But RJ losing his dad a couple months ago, being here in Florida, just something that was different, and it just showed up in his riding. And this was Seth Hammaker going after Chance Hymas for 3rd place. He saw those leaders going, getting away a little bit. Except for a good, oh, excuse me, this is Levi before the crash, getting around Chance Hymas. And this was the big moment, Lee, where he was making that time up. We saw a couple of guys have that, and man, that caught him out.
That does not get any better, no matter how many times you see it, and that caused a red flag right at the halfway point of the 250 main. So the medical team, the Alpine Stars medical team, and the Daytona medical team were there. to aid Kitchen, and you see the thumbs up there, and he was evaluated here in Daytona and then taken to Halifax for further evaluation and checks. So with half of the main remaining, staggered start, RJ Hampshire out in front, and a determined Tom Vial to try and catch him. Well, it didn't quite work out Vial's way, because tonight would be RJ Hampshire's night.
Yeah, definitely RJ. And you can tell when Tom and I interviewed afterwards, he said by RJ getting around him allowed him, and that's kind of the race. And this was Seth Handmaker going around Chance Hymas right here. This was for third. He actually made his way around Chance right before the red cross flag, but they went back a lap. But overall, good ride by him, but better ride by this number 24, RJ Hampshire.
No surprise, and just happy for him. And he's back, inserted himself back into this championship. And you remember last year, that East-West showdown in Nashville, it changed his title run up completely in a positive way. And you just have to think that taking that into consideration and coming off of a win here at Daytona is going to be a big confidence booster next week for him.
And look, James mentioned it earlier that in the post-race interview, RJ mentioned about the death of his father, and he felt that his dad's spirit was here with him today, and he has his wife and daughter to celebrate. So a real family theme for the Hampshire household here in the home state of Florida. So the two guys who won the 2 divisional championships last year end up finishing first and second, with Hampshire and Vial, and then Seth Hammaker, as James said, just put in that really determined and impressive ride to be on the podium. We spare a thought for Levi Kitchen and Cameron McAdoo. We wait for an update because McAdoo did not take the gate drop. So we'll wait for an update on what Cameron says about why he didn't make the start here in Daytona tonight. He certainly did in his heat. So the updated points look like this. Max Anstey comes in with the red plate. He leaves with the red plate, and a 6-point advantage over Tom Vial. And Chance Hymas, who, by the way, had his best ever result tonight with a 4th, slides his way into 3rd in the championship points. Let's get to Katie.
Yeah, standing by with Mitch Payton, and of course this is one of those nights that, as a team manager kind of overseeing everybody here in the camp, you got to have some sort of reflection point to say, what was this night all about? So from your point of view, how do you summarize it?
Actually, I love Daytona. We love coming here. We've had a lot of success here. I felt like we had a really good chance of winning. I think Levi and Seth rode amazing tonight, and I'll start with Cameron. Cameron hurt his knee worse, and we decided that's it. So he'll go get that fixed. That's the end of that. He tried, and it's bad, and it needs to get fixed.
And that was in that heat race.
What's that?
That was in that heat race. He came out. He was going to come out to that main, and then.
So that was it. It was starting to swell up again, and it's looser than it was, and it's worse than initial. So we're going to just get it fixed. Seth rode a good race, phenomenal, really good. Best I've seen him ride in a long time. First laps were really bad. And then Levi, had a fall down in the heat race. That was kind of rough, but he worked back up and he was really fast. And I felt like with just a decent start, I think he could have won the main. And I think he was in the position where he was close enough that I think he could have.
That confidence was high for him.
And I think he rode really well. There was a hole before that big jump, and he caught it one time, and it just nosed him up over the front. And I saw it. I'm like,
what's the status on him right now from your point of view?
They're checking him out at the hospital. We're really not sure, so I don't want to say anything, but hopefully it's great and we can get him back.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time. And hey, you still like Daytona?
I still like Daytona. It's a great race, and they do a great job here. I'm glad that we get to come here, and for anybody to win Daytona, they'll remember it forever. And I'm really stoked for Kenny Roczen. That's amazing.
You and a lot of the rest of Daytona around here. Thank you, Mitch.
All right.
Appreciate Mitch's time to share his views and also give us an update as well as we take you to the updated manufacturer points. And that was from here tonight
Right.
And across the 2 classes and the combined total. And then for the season, Yamaha, the Blue Crew, lead the way over KTM and Honda at the moment, who just have a 3-point advantage over Kawasaki as it stands at the moment. It was a special night for the youngsters, the future stars of the sport, with the second round of SMX Next. And boy, these guys turned it on in front of the crowd. Alexander Fedortsov on the 600 got away to a great start and led the majority of the way.
Oh, that was so gnarly by Olaf right there. And I mean, that could have been way dirtier, James.
Yeah.
Way dirtier.
And this was a guy, he was out front. I mean, he had almost 7-8 second lead, and
He got robbed.
yeah, he got robbed.
Alexander was pointing at the back and waving around and looking down. He had a flat rear tire, and what was a lead just evaporated. Landon Gordon, who won in Glendale, he was able to just get out in front clearly, and unfortunately Landon Hartz went down in the sand while in a really good position. And at the end, yep, 2 for 2. Landon Gordon, awesome.
Yeah, great, solid. Maybe a little bit of luck, but still, I mean, he was there, and that's, like you said, 2
was
for
in
2.
it.
Win Daytona, nice.
So, Glendale, check. Daytona, check. We'll see the youngsters next in Birmingham, Alabama. They'll also be part of that northeastern swing as well. It is a big year. Some staying solely focused on the next program, others doing other races outside, but there is some super talent. You know what else was super? This track. RC and the crew designed a pretty challenging one. Jason Thomas, it turned on some great racing tonight.
Daytona's, one of, if not the most difficult track that these riders will face all year. And I'm standing in the section that I think was pivotal. I thought James Stewart did a great job of pointing out where Ken Roczen was getting out of that inside rut, squaring it up, getting in a more shallow rut where he could accelerate more cleanly through this section. It's also the same corner where Cooper Webb made that mistake that he's going to point to that cost him a chance at Ken Roczen late. And it's very simple. The problem is this rut that they're in is so deep. When you try to exit and get into the more shallow one, you can lose the front end if you're not over the front end enough. Like, you have to slide forward on the seat, get that weight forward so you can control the front end. That's the mistake Cooper Webb made. He was a little bit too far back on the seat. He lost control. He had to come to a complete stop, and he almost fell. And speaking with Cooper right before we went live on air there, he was kicking himself for that mistake, because it's just a fundamental riding technique error that cost him a chance at a win tonight. He wants this win at Daytona so badly, and the points that come with it. So it's one of the Daytona challenges. These ruts get worse and worse throughout the course of a main event. And Webb all week long is going to be thinking about just one, 6 inches difference in a rut. It could have been the difference.
Yeah, sure was. Pretty graphic behind you there, JT, as well. Incredible. So, looking forward to next week. It's going to be special.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get to ride obviously with my other star teammates in the week. That's cool. So I mean, definitely excited for that. And Indy's a cool place as well. Cool to have an East-West round there. That's the first time, I think. So yeah, looking forward to that one. I definitely think at the moment it's just one step at a time. Get through here, do our job, and then we'll head on to Indy in a good spot, hopefully.
Yeah, Indy's going to be fun, and I was just talking to somebody else actually about that, where this race is important, but what I learned from last year is the East-West pretty much hurt me a little bit on that championship. So, yeah, I mean, obviously have a good result here and then execute in Indy and get out front of all the carnage that's going to happen there, because it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's cool this year. We have 3 of those, 3 East-West showdowns. Last year showed how important those were, for my championship. Showed up to Nashville, far out of the points lead, and ended up leaving with a red plate. So it just goes to show how important those are. Like I said, put a solid night together tomorrow in Daytona, and then really focus on trying to get on top of the box there and in Indy.
And here's how to watch next week from Indianapolis and Lucas Oil Stadium. 1:30 Peacock, race day live. As always, you'll see everything all season long on Peacock. 7 o'clock is the gate drop, and then we'll have an encore presentation on CNBC. Don't forget, if you're outside the US, the SuperMotocross Video Pass. So, looking forward to next week into Indianapolis. Stu, I'll start with you. Let's talk 250. We were just hearing some sound bites there from the riders. Why are these showdowns so important? And it's more than just, hey, I want to beat that guy who's in the other division. There's points on the line too, right?
Yeah, and that's a huge reason. I mean, yeah, I mean, all these guys are young, most of them. They got the egos. They want to beat the other coast, but I think right now just the points gap and allowing other guys, like tonight was a huge night for RJ and even Tom Vial. And kind of interested to see how Max bounced back. I think that crash yesterday kind of threw him off, so hopefully he gets healthy. And then you go in, and what we saw from Hayden Deegan last weekend, that dude was on a different level. So yeah, it's just really just comes down to points, and you got 3 opportunities for that. So the juggling on that is going to be very important for either gain it or lose a lot of time. So I'm looking forward to not only just the racing in general, but just seeing how the points end up working out.
So you're Cooper Webb. You've just doubled your points lead. You've gone from 5 to 10 points. How do you play Indy? It's always a big night, huge crowd, big event. How do you play that? Conservatively, or just keep doing what you've been doing?
Yeah, I think you do what you've been doing, right? And the thing that is going to happen is these next 7 races are going to happen so fast. And the importance of eliminating mistakes is going to be the key. Why? Because you're not going to have enough races to, do damage control. So if you Chase Sexton, no more mistakes, you're out of gimmies. And if you're Cooper Webb, you just have to keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Try to get wins if they're there. If not, be in front of Sexton. Although they need to keep their eye, in my opinion, on Ken Roczen as well. He doesn't talk about the championship much. Maybe that's his strategy, so he doesn't put too much pressure on himself. But yeah, status quo, go in there. But the mistakes are really going to show their face if, as we get down the stretch here.
All right, let's have a quick look at the Yamaha track map in Indy next week. What's in store when we arrive in the Circle City?
Ooh. Well,
like
it's tight. I feel like it, to me, James, when I look at it, it looks pretty tight to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to feel really tight compared to coming off of this racetrack. Got another sand section in here. We know how Indy, if it's soft and rutted, that track is just gnarly in general, just even getting through it. So another racetrack, another 180 off the start, going back across, but really just going to be a lot different from what we saw here tonight, and it's going to be a little bit for those guys to adjust to it.
This looks like a very similar track to how it was in Houston several years ago. If you remember, they had a tight 180 corner, but the reason I say it looks tight also, you can see half of the stadium is like fast sweeping corners, and the other one is so dense with jumps.
Yeah. So. Hey, a quick reminder too that Supercross is proud to partner with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for this season. And by becoming a monthly donor, you can help St. Jude give every child with cancer a chance. If you can donate $19 or more a month, you'll get an exclusive Love Moto Stop Cancer t-shirt, and you can text SUPER to 785-833 to learn a whole lot more. Very important cause and a great program. And that does it for us from the World Center of Racing. Yeah, the GOAT got things going a little earlier tonight in front of a big crowd wanting to see something cool, whether it's sports cars, NASCAR, or here during Bike Week. Supercross turned it on. It has been a tremendous start to this 2025 season of racing here in Daytona. Great to be back in Florida. Congrats to RJ Hampshire and Ken Roczen.